Hey, cycling community, this is Steve Grusis, the Cycling Greek. My legs are finally starting to feel better. On Wednesday, I increased my workload in the gym with my leg work. I did this by adding a lot more sets and a lot more reps to my squats, and adding more weight and reps to my deadlifts. By the time I got to my Bulgarian squats, I was pretty well reamed. That workout took a lot out of me. And apparently it took a lot out of my legs, because when I tried to ride the next day, I was pretty useless. I was hoping I'd recover by Friday since that was my day off, and I did do 80 miles, and I was functional enough, but again, by the end of that ride, I was getting pretty useless again. On Saturday, I did a pretty comfortable 27 miles. And Sunday, well, that's today. I was hoping to do a Zwift race, but it all depended on how my legs were feeling, because if they were feeling like they were the other day, I'd really damage myself if I tried to push myself during these races. Just to see how things were going, I started off by doing a 1-hour group ride. And because of the timing, the only thing that was available to me was a C ride, and they were going from 2 to 2.5 watts per kilogram, which was going to be okay for me. And I was fine with that. When I started this race, I was able to stay with everybody off the line. And so here I am. Now, at this point, I'm starting to feel things a little bit. And there's a group that's up ahead of me that's starting to form. I'm trying to go across to them, but I'm having a little bit of trouble. Still remnants of my workout on Wednesday. Right now, they're about 2 seconds up. I'm pretty gassed, so I'm hoping that someone else will come and take up the chase, and then I'll see if I can just hang on their wheels. So I think what's happening is that these guys are going up there. They're pretty much giving up the ghost, and it looks like we're going to be forming our own group, and we are a group of 5 right now that I'm seeing off on the graphics on the right. We eventually turn into a group of 4 when that person that's trying to make the bridge right now that's ahead of me, he all of a sudden drops back. I don't know if he's having network problems or he just is totally gassed, but we lose contact with him, or he rather loses contact with us. That was all within the first mile of a 17-mile race. So right now we just jumped to about the halfway mark. We picked up another rider early in the race and we are back to a group of 5. I've been keeping my eye on this group that's slowly been catching us. Judging by the message on the right side of the screen, it looks like one of our group has a teammate back there. I hope that the others have noticed this and that we can make a concerted effort to stay away from these guys. It will still be for like 8 or 9 miles, but unless we do something, these guys are going to catch us. I figure that my hoping that someone else does something is probably not going to get anything done. So I figure I got to put in the effort. If they see me working, maybe they'll be enticed to work. So I take off. My 1-hour calculated threshold is about 275 watts. I start entering my VO2 max at about 290 watts. I'm also hoping by doing this move that I'm going to thin out the crowd a little bit and then I'll have a better working group. I can't sprint, so I got to be in a small group when I get to the finish line. Looking at the graphics on the right, I see that I'm splitting them up. 1 second, 2 seconds apart, 3, and now they're kind of coalescing again. So the closest is about now 3 seconds behind me. Another reason I chose to do this move is because I'm the only B in our chase group. The others are C's except for one person that's a pretty strong D. One would think that I could have my way with these guys because I'm a B and these guys aren't. But I'm also a lot older than these guys at 67. So, that kind of evens things out and maybe even creates a bit of a deficit for me. A valiant effort, but I just couldn't maintain the power. I was out for almost 5 minutes. Eventually, that small group that was chasing us caught us, and then we grew to a group of 7. There are 13 riders ahead of us. There's one person at about 1.5 minutes, and everyone else is closer to 3 minutes. They are really moving. If you look at the graphics right above my avatar, you'll see that we are in the back part of lap 2. I now need to just recover, because that took a lot of bananas out of me, I tell you. So I'm hoping that I don't go to the line with these guys because, again, I'm assuming that everyone can sprint a lot better than I can. At a certain point, I got to get away from these guys. And I figure that point's going to be in the 3rd lap, probably around 1/3 of the way through that lap, where the course starts to rise. Jumping to that 3rd lap, I'm somewhere between 1/3 and halfway through that lap. I'm positioning myself toward the back so I can take a run and hopefully catch these guys by surprise. It's 3.3 miles to go, and so I have to put everything into this because this is probably going to be the only move I have left. It is go time. Again, my threshold's around 275 and my VO2 max starts around 290. So I don't have the power to go up to like 6 and 7 watts per kilogram. I just got to go strong, but keep it steady. And pretty much that's what I'm doing now. I see Mr. Ewing down there is getting onto my wheel, but he's starting to drop back a bit. I'm keeping my eye on those graphics on the right hand side to see what's happening. So still somebody's within 10 meters behind me, a couple people are. And then you have a split of a second back, 2 seconds back, 4 seconds back, a couple people at 4 seconds. So I'm hoping this is working. I got to stay positive. Definitely hoping this is working. With the nearest person now 1 second behind me and everyone else a second or two back of that person, now that person's 2 seconds back of me, I'm settling back down to get it closer to my threshold. Actually, I'm trying to hold it close to my VO2 max of 290 to 300. It is now a long 2.9 miles to go. To hold it at 300, which is about 4 watts per kilogram, is going to be tough for me for that entire distance. I'm starting to dial back. I'm now way below threshold. I'm trying to get a little bit of rest before I start to pick it up again. Everyone else now is about 3 seconds behind me. So I'm still in the game. In fact, my water's just back up to a threshold again, maybe a little higher. Who knows? Maybe I could do this. This by far is my longest breakaway to the finish ever, at least in Zwift. No, I've done that on the road, and usually I'm the kind of guy that gets caught at the very last corner. But alas, I'm starting to get caught, and the guy that's bringing me in is that Category D guy, and the others are right behind him. In fact, he has about a second split to the others, so who knows, maybe we can work together. I'm a little reamed. He's not going to the front. He may be a little reamed too. We are now half a mile from the finish. I've been trying to recover. I'm hoping that everyone else has been a little reamed from my effort. But again, young legs versus old legs. So, you know, I got to give it a shot. I give it one more try. I got to the back of these guys and pushed it all the way through. It is about 0.3 miles to go. I'm looking at the graphics on the right. So I see somebody going back a second. A couple that are going now a second back. There's somebody that's still within 10 meters of me. And now it's down to 0.2 mile. Man, this is taking a long time. I'm still doing over 400. Now it's dropping, which means I'm kind of dying out. Looking at my insert picture in the lower left-hand corner, looks like I'm going to go into 8th at any moment. There's the line. Oh man, I got 2 passing me. And now the Category D, he passes me. Oh boy, best I could have got was 14th, and I ended up about 16th. 2 of the riders that had bridged up to us, I dropped on the, not this attack, but on the previous attack. All right, I got some good work in. I got to do a little bit of VO2 max, which you gotta do when you're old like me. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video and you got something out of it. As always, remember, comment, like, subscribe. The Cycling Greek.